Patriots and Red Sox. Fans at the Heights are looking for another title from the BC Cagers. Tonight, Boston College can clinch at least a share of the Big East title with a win over Pittsburgh in a showdown featuring 4 of the best players in the conference. It's always tough to get tickets in Foxborough or at Fenway, and now it's almost as difficult in Chestnut Hill. The students and fans fired up as the Eagles take the court with a chance to clinch at least a share of a Big East regular season title with a win here tonight. Welcome to the last big Monday of the season, presented by Bud Light. Tonight, the 5th-ranked BC Eagles host the Pittsburgh Panthers, a team that had thoughts of challenging for the title not long ago, now cast as the spoiler and hoping to earn a bye in the first round of the Big East tournament. The top 5 teams earn that, and right now Pittsburgh's in a tie for 5th, while BC will wear the regular season crown in their last year in the Big East if they can win here tonight. Hi everybody, Sean McDonough with Jay Billis and Bill Raftery. Delighted to have you with us. And Jay, so much to play for Boston College tonight.
There is a lot to play for. Not only the Big East regular season title, a #1 seed in the Big East tournament, but a #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament as well. And this is a good team. They are worthy of that.
Some people can relax and get a tan. At this time of year, Pitt can't afford to. They can't let it slide. See, 3 losses in a row. This is very important for them, not only for the tournament, but if they're thinking seeding, this is a biggie for them.
As we look at Star Watch, we look at some contenders certainly for the all-conference team this year.
You think strength, you think Carl Krauser and Siobhan Troutman. Not only their physical strength, but their mental toughness as well. Carl Krauser, 2nd in the league in assists. He gets everything going and hits big shots. And Siobhan Troutman will knock you into next week if you get in his way.
You think intelligence? You think of Jared Dudley. Really has a great feel for the game. Does the little things. Of course, Craig Smith, the power of strength down on the box. They've got to go early and establish him.
Pittsburgh's had the upper hand in this rivalry. Craig Smith and BC trying to turn that around. Pitt's won the last 5 in a row head-to-head and 8 of the last 9. Mike Kitzel throw it in the air. John Clougherty and Joe Lindsay, the other officials. And Nate Dornicamp, the senior, in his final home game, controlled the tip for the white-clad Eagles.
And Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Pittsburgh Panthers go.
Pittsburgh putting Mark McCarroll on Jared Dudley. Try to use his length and athleticism to bother Dudley.
There's that flex. Nice save underneath by McCarroll.
And the ball wound up with Sean Marshall, and he laid it in for the first bucket of the night. The sophomore from Rialto, California.
It is no accident why Boston College always seems to be in the right place at the right time. They understand how to play.
They get the bounces.
Antonio Graves and now Carl Krauser, the point guard for Pittsburgh. Siobhan Troutman, the senior. McCarroll, Graves, and now Chris Taft. They've all touched it.
And they're going to try and take away that left shoulder.
The jump hook over Dornicamp did not go, and Sean Marshall kicked it out of bounds. Let's take a look at the lineups for Boston College. Hinnant, Marshall, Dudley, Smith, and Dornicamp. For Pittsburgh, McCarroll, the newcomer in the starting lineup tonight with Krauser, Graves, Troutman, and Taft. Krauser tried to turn the corner, but Hinnant shut him off. Troutman called for a travel by Joe Lindsay. Pittsburgh coached by Jamie Dixon, enduring the toughest tenure, the toughest time of his 2-year tenure as head coach with a 3-game losing streak. After 31 wins, a school record, and a trip to the Sweet 16 last year, Pitt all of a sudden has lost 3 in a row for the first time since 2001. Dornicamp traveled. And Boston College, coached by a man who is certainly the leading candidate for Big East Coach of the Year, if not National Coach of the Year, Al Skinner. 2nd in school history in wins, and with a win tonight, he'd have 74 in the Big East in his 8th season. That's as many as Jim O'Brien had in 11 seasons.
Wow.
And scores inside.
How about the strength there, Sean? It establishes himself, then the patience around the rim by Chevy Troutman.
And he really has great footwork, able to get around Dornicamp. And Dornicamp also has some length on him as well.
He's clever. Troutman, that is.
Lewis Hinnant, the point guard. Sean Marshall, an awkward runner, got his own rebound and jammed it into the rim Chris Taft the board for Pittsburgh. Graves bounces to the side of the lane. Can't get it to go. Last touch by Sean Marshall.
They will bite you early with a fast break. Graves gets a great opportunity because Krauser found them early.
Tied at 2. And 2 minutes have been played. McCarroll from the corner. And Marshall, a nice rebound in traffic, took it away from an excellent rebounder in Troutman.
Troutman had the inside position. Marshall showing a little bit of strength of his own.
He's did it on the offensive end as well on the glass.
Greg Smith, the leading scorer for BC. Nicely done with the one-hander. He averages 18 points, 8.5 rebounds per game. The Eagles by 2.
He doesn't need a lot of space, does he?
He's got some shoulders. You feel you're a little taller than he is, Jay. I mean, he's deceptive with his strength and size.
Well, he is not tall, but he is long, and he is as strong as any player in college basketball.
Taft tried to pass. Smith deflected it, but it went right to McCarroll, and he was fouled on his way up to the rim.
And this is scary for Pitt. McCarroll not a good free throw shooter.
I mean, look how far out the Taft is able to push him, but he just backs him down. And that nice long right arm goes up, and the soft touch by Craig Smith. He is a big-time scorer inside.
As usual, Coach Raftery, the master of understatement. McCarroll is not a good free throw shooter. I'd say not.
I said it.
16% for the year.
You know,
now
these
4 for 26 with that miss.
These kids have relatives.
Who would be a bad free throw shooter?
You. You know, he's such a good deep shooter. I think it's one of the reasons he's in here to stretch the defense. It just becomes a mental block. There you go. The stroke. Got to Christ the King.
McCarroll, a fifth-year senior, is already completed his work toward his degree.
And look how deep this pass is, and the kick out makes these.
Dornicamp, who was honored as one of the 2 seniors along with Jermaine Watson, their 6th man in senior night ceremonies.
This should actually be intentional.
It should. He grabbed it. Jared Dudley grabbed the wrist of Mark McCarroll as they were running down the floor. A little hand holding.
Started the fast break.
First foul on Dudley.
You can hand hold on Newbury Street, not here.
How about the job Nate Dornicamp's cousin, 12-year-old Dana Smart, did singing the national anthem before the game tonight. They sang the Canadian national anthem in honor of Dornicamp, who's from Odessa, Ontario. He has about 15 relatives who made the trip down, and his 12-year-old cousin, Dana Smart, did a beautiful rendition of the Canadian national anthem. It was almost like the crowd was asking for an encore. They wouldn't stop cheering for her when she finished.
It was electrifying. Tough look for the big guy to catch.
There's a lot of bodies bumping out there. You better be prepared for a fight in this game.
Al Skinner says, you know, when you play Pittsburgh, you're going to be physical. You hope you get the whistles, but a lot of times they're allowed to push and shove and hold. Dornicamp off again. Sometimes players can have difficulty on senior night with all the emotion.
Absolutely. And Troutman that time really did a great job on Smith getting him away from the lane. Now you mentioned senior, and I remember having it one year. The parents didn't show. You know you're in trouble.
Getting away from you.
Exactly.
Here's a steal by Dudley.
Give up.
Fast break for the Eagles.
Pretty play.
How unselfish, and that's a hallmark of this BC team. They average 17 assists per game, best in the conference and in the top 10 in the country.
Sean, that was a clinic, wasn't it? Didn't touch the floor.
And how about the smarts by Dudley in picking off that pass? He's in the top 10 in steals in the league and league play. Big time player.
Hennon's bucket gave the Eagles a 3-point lead, and Krauser was fouled. Fouled by Craig Smith, his first. So it's been a beautiful season for Boston College. They play the game the right way.
The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship on ESPN begins March 19th.
All right, here's one. You're stranded on the island. Name 3 things that you want with you.
A beautiful woman, an endless supply of Bud Light, and oh yeah, another beautiful woman.
Hey, Sam. When are you gonna paint the hut?
Not until he builds the raft.
He said he built the raft yesterday.
Girl, he
My
says
mama
that
told me
every
not to get
home
stranded with you.
God, oh, I got to work on my fantasies.
Fresh, smooth, real Bud Light.
Now this is what I'm talking about.
It's all here.
Look at him. He thinks this is his truck.
But he's wrong. This is my truck. 8 years I've sat here. 130,000 miles of wind have passed through this nose. This truck is mine. But he does protect it.
Help extend the life of your engine with Castrol GTX High Mileage, specially formulated to protect against oil burn-off better than competitive leading oils.
Nice man. Nice man.
Help older cars feel young again with Castrol GTX High Mileage.
Take the dollar. What's going on, man? It won't take my dollar. Wow, that looks good.
Oh, yeah, it's new from KFC. Real chicken breast. Only $1.
You got that for $1?
Yeah. Took your $1.
Oh.
Ready for a tasty bargain? Try the brand new 99-cent snacker from KFC. 100% hand-floured chicken breast, pepper mayo, and crisp lettuce freshly prepared on a sesame seed bun. Now your dollar goes further at KFC.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here. And in part by Castrol GTX High Mileage. It helps older cars feel young again.
Big Monday presented by Bud Light continues later tonight right here on ESPN. At 9, we head to the Big 12, 21-6. Oklahoma takes on Texas. And then at midnight, it's a Mountain West showdown as New Mexico and UNLV square off. That's all tonight on ESPN. Texas trying to ride out the season with the loss of so many key players.
And they're playing much better. I think Texas is an NCAA tournament team. I don't care whether P.J. Tucker's playing or not. They're worthy of being in the field.
I read your column where
you're the one.
The one's the only guy.
I was going to say somebody read it to him.
I'd have to pay for it. No, where you were saying that the games in December mean as much as the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't see how they can just say the last 10 games are so important and how you're playing at the time. I mean, some teams have to rely on wins at the beginning of the year. Every game counts in college basketball. It's your entire body of work.
Well, West Virginia is a good example with State and LSU. If you don't count those in December, they're not on the bubble.
We wonder if Pittsburgh is sliding back onto the bubble. They seem to lock for inclusion in the tournament. Graves a held ball as he drove to the basket. Some subs for Pittsburgh. Levon Kendall and Aaron Gray have come in.
Kendall's got to give them some scoring because if they don't get the inside touches, the perimeter, Krauser, of course, can penetrate and find some people.
Kendall, the native Canadian, into Gray. He was double teamed. They lay off Troutman. His 14-footer bounced off and it got deflected over to Lewis Hinnant, the junior point guard.
He didn't look confident taking it, did he?
No.
Took the extra dribble to get closer. Just stroke it.
He was almost too wide open.
Nice pass.
Dornicamp had it blocked by Troutman and saved by Gray. The 7-footer, just the second in Pittsburgh history. Mark Blount the other. Troutman a strong finish.
He may be one of the premier runners of the floor that nobody notices. He has that ability because they don't look the fast break, but he gets those puppies down.
And he puts a lot of pressure on the opposing big guy.
Sneaky quick.
Are they going to their flex?
Look at how wide open on the baseline. You really got to close on the weak side.
Marshall's their leading three-point shooter, and right on cue, he buries that. Just his 34th of the year. BC was a team when they went out to 20-0, made very few threes, averaged 3 threes made per game. They've made 7 per game in the last 5 games, but they're only 3-2 in those 5.
Well, we were wondering down at Villanova, Marshall really couldn't guard the perimeter people. They missed his scoring, but defensively it was a liability.
Krauser got Hinnant in the air and drew the foul. Al Skinner felt like Hinnant went straight up and then got jumped into by Krauser, but didn't get the call. We mentioned the bubble, and Jay, you're our bubble boy. RPI 64 for Pittsburgh. I get the sense you feel the RPI maybe isn't as important as in previous years.
I think the RPI is absolutely meaningless this year because of the way it's been weighted. It has been weighted to give greater credit to road games, and you get too much credit, in my opinion, for road games and get punished for home games.
He may be the biggest bubble boy I've ever seen. But, you know, Pitt, a tough team. You know, they've had some solid wins. We've witnessed them firsthand. They certainly are deserving, but to make it easier, they've got to win, I think, one of these 3, being Notre Dame in the first-round game.
I think they will. I just think it would be hard to believe that Pittsburgh, even if they lost their next two, this one tonight at Boston College and at Notre Dame, that they would be in that much trouble. They've won some quality games.
Now, the coaches are very concerned, as they should be, and players.
John Marshall made a nice move to the basket. Looked like he couldn't decide whether to lay it in or bank it in, and shot it somewhere in between. Krauser, a little bit out of control there, and the shot gets blocked out of bounds by Dornekamp.
They have terrific collective defense. Somebody doesn't jump out on every play, but collectively they get to the point of attack.
They cover for each other so well. And that means you are seeing the ball. When you see the ball, then you can make those kind of plays.
Let's see if they're in their matchup right now. Yes, they are.
Ronald Ramon has come in at guard for Pittsburgh, the freshman wearing number 4.
Nice look.
And Kendall missed it. And hit it fouled by Gray in the backcourt. Troutman hit Kendall right underneath the bucket for an easy layup, but Levon missed it. And then Gray committed his first foul.
Just a beautiful pass. He turns and looks to see where the defense is, and these are the kind of chippies that Pittsburgh has been missing over their last 3 games. And Jamie Dixon told us this morning, we've been playing well. We've just been missing free throws here and there and missing some layups. It's that kind of play that's really been hurting Pittsburgh.
They blew a double-digit lead against West Virginia with 10 minutes to go because they couldn't score down the stretch. Dudley missed a 3, batted out, I believe, by Craig Smith, and that's the call from John Clougherty.
It's interesting, Kendall's last miss. No Sean Williams in the game. That's the one thing you'd worry about. Al Skinner's got a shot, a blocker, and into the game, one of the seniors, Jermaine Watson.
And that's why you hear the big hand, the other senior on this BC team playing in his last game, and a local product from Dorchester, Massachusetts.
What a nice time today chatting with him, wasn't it?
He's a very pleasant young man. Grew up in some tough circumstances, lost his dad to cancer when he was 8. But he still has an ache in his heart over that. Troutman, an air ball. He doesn't shoot many threes. Has made only 6 all year.
And you get the feeling Pittsburgh is not playing well on the road, yet they're only down 2.
And they're being allowed so far to be pretty physical with Smith, and if that's the case, he might have trouble tonight. Krauser between the legs to pass it off.
He's lucky.
He is lucky because the BC bench thought he charged after. Kendall did not miss that layup, and then Dornekamp walked halfway back to his native Canada.
You know, it looks like... Hey, by the way, how about his scouting report? He said there isn't anybody in our family that can sing.
Yeah, we said, hey, we hear your cousin's going to sing the national anthem tonight. He said, no, that's not happening. And sure enough, out comes his 12-year-old cousin.
Speaking of Canada, Kendall, the beneficiary of that non-call, but you've got to jump stop. The little extra pizzazz was unnecessary.
Now, if that didn't work, if that would have gone out of bounds or off his foot, how quickly would you have a sub at the scorer's table?
Well, it would go the Bronx cheer in reverse.
Good feet by Dudley.
Steve Haley's checked in for Boston College, number 12, the backup point guard. Watson, good hands on defense. He created that steal. Haley with Troutman reaching in for a foul that might have prevented an easy bucket for BC.
Kendall's got to shoot the ball. He's got Watson running out on him, who's 5 inches smaller. You work it into a turnover, lead to an opportunity at the other end. Not good basketball.
The Bronx in French pastry.
Al McGuire lives. God bless him.
Being able to track packages is critical to our customers. That's why we've developed a more advanced scanning system. You see, we take delivering information as seriously as delivering packages.
UPS, what can Brown do for you?
We got gas too, man. Chips, $3. Frozen beverage, $2. Gas, $31. Starting a new life together, priceless. Rekindling a fire that never went out. Satisfying a much-needed slushy fix? Priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For gas stations, there's MasterCard.
Here's a fun fact. Erected in 1963, the walnut stands 15 feet high.
I'll be in the car. Go where you want with your free weekend from Avis.
Orca! Orca! Orca. Oh, I love orca.
I thought you loved the humpback.
I recently changed my mind.
But I thought we established that the orca was mine.
Now rent for a week and get a free weekend to use later. Find our lowest prices at avis.com.
Sorry, I'm late, guys. Trying to decipher these numbers. It's fine.
Visit the largest job website, careerbuilder.com. A better job awaits.
There are millions surfing the web with net zero for less than $10 a month. Are you one of them? If not, then it's time to switch to the internet service that ranks higher than AOL in customer satisfaction. Join the millions. Switch to net zero. Go to netzero.com.
Troutman up and under. Oh, he's been amazing. Tough, hard-nosed competitor.
Dudley somehow gets it to go. Jared Dudley, as good as there is in the Big East.
Smith sent it in.
Power forward indeed.
Well, these two schools certainly have a lot of candidates for first team all Big East. It's that time of the year where you start to think about that. We actually agreed on something for the first time all year when we sat down and made our list. All three of us agree that Craig Smith of Boston College should be the Big East Player of the Year, and those are the other selections. We had him plus 5 others as the first team.
I don't recall voting, to be honest with you.
I don't recall giving you top billing either. How'd it become Sean, Jay, and Bill?
Well, I wanted Sean and the other guys. They compromised on Sean, Jay, and Bill.
How tough is it, though? I mean, Jerry McNamara is a guy. He could have been Player of the Year, too. I think their matchup here would give the advantage to Smith. Would you agree with that? You were at that game.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think when you're the leading scorer and rebounder on the best team in the league, and you're in the top 3 or 4, as he will be at the end of the year in both of those categories in the league, you have to merit strong consideration when there's no other clear-cut. I mean, Hakeem Warwick, Ryan Gomes, there are a lot of players who could be serious candidates for Player of the Year, but I think because of the success of the team, he should win the tiebreaker.
A little 1-2-2 3/4 court pressure by Boston College.
Ronald Ramon's got to light it up a little bit. If he gets those open looks, struggled the other day, has a little shoulder problem they feel is impacted on his shooting.
John DeGroat has come in for Pittsburgh, and an offensive foul called by John Fogerty. Apparently Gray used his free arm to try to create some space. It's his second foul.
Now this is one where you got to power. Yeah, no question about it. At the end of it, all you got to do is go up strong.
5th turnover for Pittsburgh. They've had just 3 field goals, 3 for 11 from the floor, but tied at 9. They're back to the Pitt trademark, which is outstanding defense. They've held BC to 9 points in more than 9 minutes. Shot blocked by McCarroll.
Boy, great read by him. Boy, they are bumping the cutters. It's something you have to do. Either deflects or those slice cuts.
Smith with the shot clock running out. Didn't get the 3 to fall. We talked after a game a couple of weeks ago with an NBA scout who said he was almost stunned by how much contact was allowed most nights in the Big East. How physically they allow these teams to play.
He said it was more physical than the NBA.
Isn't that amazing? Free flowing. Nice look by McCarroll. Great save. Dudley.
DeGroat blocked by Dudley. DeGroat's played very little lately, but in there early in the game tonight, Sean Williams lost it as he went to the baseline. DeGroat has not played at all in 2 of the last 3 Pittsburgh games and has 1 point in the last 10.
Well, DeGroat exposed the ball there. You've got to square up to the basket and go up strong, so they've got to go over your shoulder in order to block that shot. But boy, Aaron Gray right now, he just came out of the game. He's got cotton in his nose. He looks like he's in the 11th round of a title bout.
It's usually Pitt's opponent that's that way.
Smith, just 2 points so far for BC. Gave it to Haley with Marshall, Watson, and Williams for Boston College. Marshall Missed everything, or if it hits on the, it barely grazed the right side of the rim.
DeGroat really hustled. He did bite on the pump fake, but you got to get out on this guy. He can drill him from deep. Thus far, I think Pitt's defense has been hanging tough. I really made it confusing for BCJ.
Boston College has had some opportunities, but Pittsburgh has had just as many and has come up empty.
BC has missed its last 5 shots. Troutman drops it in, and Pitt has the lead with 9.5 to go in the first half. 6 of the 11 Pittsburgh points belong to Siobhan Troutman.
How about the Carroll passes? The one for the block shot, but that one there on the money. Solid play by the experienced vet.
Jermaine Watson with the long arm of McCarroll guarding him, and the rebound to Chris Taft.
They're going to have to make that move coming up to the elbow more often. They can't get through on that baseline flex cut.
Haley called for a foul as he bumped into Krauser on the side of the lane.
Sean, this is what I was mentioning. I think McCarroll just knows how to play. The injuries, the concussion, he's just been damaged goods, and now at the end of the year, what a time to step up.
But watch also Chris Taft here underneath the basket, taking it all the way and doing a nice job after Troutman takes it in there, doing a nice job of screening off Marshall.
Ramon with Krauser, McCarroll, Troutman and Taft for Pittsburgh. A very deep 3 by Krauser.
Wow. He didn't even know what they were in. He felt it was man-to-man. It was the matchup. Why not nail it?
9-0 run for Pittsburgh. They've opened up a 5-point lead. First 3 of the night for Krauser, his team leading 47. One of the problems lately for Pittsburgh, they've not shot the ball well from beyond the arc. They were #1 in the league in 3-point percentage a couple of weeks ago. They've slipped to 4th.
Look where they're getting the ball, by the way.
They need better spacing.
Closer. Yeah, they are too tight.
Williams got his own rebound, and Taft blocked the shot. Al Skinner thought there was a foul. He's up off the BC bench.
Look at the footwork on that guy. Little kiss. Chevy to the levee, and Krauser on the money with the delivery.
BC needs to keep the floor more spread, and that was not a good shot.
That's not their kind of game right there.
And then after the miss by Marshall, Watson called for a foul in the rebounding action.
One thing Chevy Troutman does, he always keeps his composure, and if there is a blow to be delivered, he's the guy that's going to deliver it.
He does lock that pivot foot into. Oh. That is tough for a defender.
One thing when you play Pittsburgh, they are physical. They do come after you with a physical game. You cannot get sucked into that. You've got to play your game. And right now, Boston College is getting into Pittsburgh's tempo. They need to keep much better spacing, get further out on the floor so they can run their stuff.
Over the last 5 years, when Pittsburgh's had so much success, defense has been their trademark. They've had some stunning lapses. McCarroll couldn't handle the pass from Troutman. When they blew that big lead last week to West Virginia, the Mountaineers shot 72% from the floor in the second half to come back and win. The defense much better tonight against the Eagles.
Listen, Michael, this is really hard for me to say, but I gotta say it. I'm gonna be better than you, way better. And I know nobody believes me now, but I don't care, because they didn't believe you either. I mean, everyone said your big brother was gonna be the star, not you. But no, you didn't listen, not to them or not to anyone. You just listened to your heart. And that's all I'm doing, Mike, listening. And I'm sorry, but my heart is saying it's time for you to step to the side, big brother.
The competition, the commitment, the community, the paint. ESPNU is here. This Friday, ESPN launches a new network dedicated to college sports, all college sports. The premiere of ESPNU will be simulcast on ESPN2 at 7 p.m. Friday with a special 2-hour college game day live from Oklahoma State. ESPNU, be there from the beginning.
Can inspiration redefine the order of things? Can uncommon luxury and heavy power actually rewrite the description of the perfect sports sedan? Apparently so. Introducing the 2005 Motor Trend Car of the Year, the Chrysler 300, starting at $23,995. Chrysler, inspiration comes standard.
There's a force out there. It's strong, it's powerful. It stops for nothing and no one. It's a wrecking ball off the chain. It's the thunder and the lightning. The Nike Air Force operate in the House of Hoops. Only at Foot Locker.
Boston College has gone 6 minutes and 43 seconds without scoring. They've missed their last 10 shots, and at least on a couple of possessions, spacing a problem.
Spacing has been a problem. It's almost like there's a magnet in the basket, everybody being sucked inside of that three-point line. There's nowhere to go. Look at all the congestion in that lane. They ultimately got the ball inside to Sean Williams, but they need to get better spacing, make their cuts a little bit longer so that Pittsburgh has got to get out on the floor and defend, and those screens can work. Too much congestion means those passes are going to be harder to get through.
Sean, have you ever had anisette? Anisette? Put it in the coffee?
No, I've seen you do that 1,000 times.
There's a reason for that statement now.
Except no coffee.
Years ago, I went down to see Pete Carroll to talk about basketball. We had coffee and anisette at 9 in the morning. He talked about spacing. We thought he was talking about the most beautiful woman in the world, the proper spacing, and you help the defense by jamming things up, basically. Try the anisette, you might like it.
I was going to say, if you can make spacing that exciting, it must be something special. Dudley, Haley with Smith, Marshall, and Williams. Smith and Dudley have combined for 2 points for the Eagles. Dudley missed it. Marshall fouled on the putback try, and he'll shoot 2. It'll be the first free throws of the night for BC.
And a big Chevy there, got a piece of it. In a hurry a little bit. In a hurry a little bit, guys. This is just a giveaway. He doesn't give it up easily, does he? It's the forearm right across the chest.
Just a nudge.
Just to keep you informed.
He only wound up in the 3rd row. He learned that at the John Chaney camp. Marshall missed the free throw. 64% from the line for Marshall, coming off a 12-point performance in their win here over Seton Hall Saturday.
And, you know, Sean, while you were doing putting your makeup on, Jay and I were talking to Bill Coyne, Ed Cooley, and company over there, and their question was, can Troutman play at the next level? They felt he could. He's so physical, a presence out there. He's just got to get that 15-footer to go a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, he's got to work on his perimeter shot, but his footwork is good. He's strong. I wonder a little bit about who he would guard at the next level, because usually where you play is determined by who you can guard.
That free throw by Marshall ended more than a 7-minute drought. 7 minutes, 12 seconds. Krauser traveled. Slid his feet as he tried to fight around that double team at the elbow. 7th turnover for Pittsburgh.
And that's where BC is tough. That may have been the matchup, and he just dribbled into the next available guy.
Haley, who gave them a terrific performance off the bench Wednesday night at Villanova. He had 11 points, 4 threes. He 4 for 6 from the field, rather, and 3 threes. He had made only 3 threes all season long before the game. Smith.
And that was an aggressive move right at the chest of Taft.
He's 1 for 6 now from the floor. Graves a pull-up for 3. Smith and Williams fought each other and lost it out of bounds. Pittsburgh to play it in.
But that is usually a possession for Craig Smith when he gets the ball in the lane where he's going to get fouled. And he throws his body right into the defense. It looked like a foul to me.
Haley and Marshall go out. Watson and Hennon are back in. Part of the success of this team, says Al Skinner, he plays only 8, but they have a lot of versatility within the 8 players. A number of players can play multiple positions.
You almost have to freelance against this matchup. Bust the spots, holes, get between defenders with the bounce and find somebody.
Boy, they communicate so well.
Graves come up ambling a little bit.
He stepped on a foot after he made that jump shot. First bucket of the night for Antonio Graves, the sophomore from Mansfield, Ohio. 8-point lead for Pittsburgh. Just 10 points in more than 14 minutes for Boston College. And finally a foul for holding a cutter as Graves guilty of grabbing onto Jermaine Watson.
You know, this offense, they may have to change it just a little bit because they're bringing Pitt's got a foot in the lane as well. Maybe open it up a little. They do some other things that could be effective.
Foul on Graves, his first, and the 5th foul against the Panthers. Krauser right up on Hennon.
He's a good defender, Sean.
Boy, as soon as they come up that flex cut, there's always somebody there to bump them.
Smith throws up an air ball, really struggling against this physical Pittsburgh D. 1 for 7. And a lob, and the dunk is missed by McCarroll. It's tough to tell originally if it was intended for he or Taft. They were both near the rim, and Smith scores in transition.
What an effort, you're right.
And that should have been an N1. I mean, he got bumped there.
Timeout Pittsburgh as Boston College is trying to get this sellout crowd engaged. 9 minutes and 25 seconds between field goals for the Eagles before the score by Smith after this missed dunk try by McCarroll.
And Sean, you're right. I think it was for others, but the ability of Smith, he just took it down the end, Jay, and just went at the defense. This is what you love about him. He got banged twice on this play.
I mean, that's a foul, but still he was strong enough to finish the play in transition. I mean, we're talking about two of the strongest guys, not only in the Big East, but in college basketball, in Chevy Troutman and Craig Smith.
They were telling me Smith, that is, really never touched weights until he went to Worcester, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he certainly has gone from a guy who was not heavily recruited because he was pudgy to a pretty well sculpted guy now.
No, he is solid. A chink.
Kendall's back in, as is Gray for the Panthers. Krauser, nice pass. Then it got batted away. The Eagle fans thought it went off a Pittsburgh leg, but that was not the call.
You know, Pitt's passed the ball very well. They just haven't protected the basketball enough. We've seen some magnificent looks, but haven't been able to finish the deal.
Dornekamp has returned for Boston College for Sean Williams. These two seniors, Dornekamp and Watson, have never defeated Pittsburgh 0-5 in their career. Gray, the offensive rebound. Up over the pile to jam it home. His first field goal in the last 10 games.
They thought he could help. He has been a guy they were counting on. How about that, though?
Well, I can't get over how physical this game is. I mean, Gray had to grab that offensive rebound with one hand because he was holding off with the other hand.
It's like the schoolyard.
And then lowered his shoulder when he put the ball back up and got away with all of it.
And DeGroat gives one at this end to Dudley, who usually lets the official know. You better be fit and physical. Here's that big-time stats. Huh?
The discard, as you say. And DeGroat was hanging on to the net there.
He just committed the last foul, his first and the team's 6th. So both teams at 6. It'll be the bonus on the next for each.
See if Dornekamp can make some plays outside.
Smith in all kinds of traffic, fouled. And a mock cheer goes up from the fans who think that Smith's been bumped a lot tonight without the whistle.
I think it might have been Graves underneath.
It is Graves. His 2nd and the team's 7th. This is a 2-shot opportunity for Smith. 71% free throw shooter.
Boy, identifying talent is a knack, and that's something this staff has done. Don't you think at BC?
Well, they found several players who were not highly recruited. You think of Troy Bell, who was a 2-time player of the year in this league. Not a very highly touted recruit. Craig Smith. They have Sean Williams, the freshman, who not a lot of people around the country knew about.
Jared Dudley.
And Jared Dudley arrived in August of the season right before his freshman campaign.
When you know, that was his MO at Rhode Island as well. He brought in Catino Mobley, Tyson Wheeler, guys that were sort of diamonds in the rough, if you will. Antonio Reynolds-Dean, Preston Murphy. I mean, he had a great team there that Jim Herrick ultimately was able to take to the Elite 8.
Look at DeGroat with the look and the finish. Oh, Canada. Nice look by DeGroat to Kendall.
DeGroat off the milk carton in impressive fashion here tonight for Pittsburgh. And the Panthers back up by 8.
And they are playing straight up on Smith. Look at the bump here. He's still able to counter on Taft.
Craig Smith took the bump and scored over Taft, and he's starting to find the mark now.
And you guys make a great point about that bump. When you're bumped down low, it takes great strength to be able to finish those plays. That's a really effective tactic for a defender. Keep your hands up and use your lower body to knock that offensive player off.
Nice play by Dudley. Does he read things?
Dudley stole it from DeGroat. DeGroat changed the shot, and a foul on the rebounding action. Watson had the rebound but pushed off, said Joe Lindsay.
And it was the right call, Sean. Nice hustle. Dudley played the passing lane, but just to recover and force him to miss.
Second foul on Watson. John DeGroat, a factor here for Pittsburgh as the Panthers have built a 6-point lead.
The window appears. An opportunity for greatness. For glory. For triumph. The window appears, and it's gone. It's the last chance to get to the dance. 26 conference championship games in 1 week. Championship Week, presented by 7-Up, begins Saturday at noon on ESPN2 and continues through March 13th.
If you're waiting for the weekend, you A, are thoughtful and well organized, B, have an excellent reason to live past Thursday, C, are missing out on 5/7 of your life. Life beckons, and you're holding the key.
All right, people, we all know what day it is. It's Tuesday. Our chance to do some good out there with our 2 times Tuesday pizza deal. Our chance to rescue people from the average, from the mundane. Now let's show them what a free pizza can do. Let me get a hoo-ha 2 times Tuesday. Hoo-ha. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about.
It's 2 times Tuesday at Domino's. Buy any large pizza at regular menu price and get a second pizza of equal or lesser value free. Get the door. It's Domino's 2 times Tuesday.
Our road trips were the best until he couldn't read the map with his regular contact lenses. And wear reading glasses? No way.
Bausch & Lomb brings you soft lens multifocal contact lenses. A unique design clinically proven to let you see clearly, near, far, and in between.
See how beautiful this place is?
Do I ever?
Ask your eye doctor for soft lens multifocal contact lenses from Bausch & Lomb. For 150 years, perfecting vision, enhancing life.
You've got friends, you've got beer. The trick is, A, never confusing the two, B, having plenty of both, C, always having something to drink to. Life beckons, and you're holding the key.
Hi, Chris Fowler, Digger Phelps, Mike Jarvis, and the UPS report. Cheney suspends himself again. We'll have Big East bubble talk and also preview Oklahoma and Texas. Tough first half so far.
Well, I'll tell you, if you like defense, you've got it. Pitt has been a team that's gotten out early. BC has been a team that's come back late. It makes for a great game, I think, in the end.
But, Mike, what happened today during the shoot-arounds? Coach Rafferty decided to show both teams his shooting at LaSalle. That's why they're 15 for 48 in the first half. I don't know. Memphis was bad Saturday. BC tonight. I see Jay maybe as the common thread in this.
Well, to be fair, Chris.
Well, there's a pretty good basketball player and a good drummer. The Heisman Trophy winner here at Boston College. Doug Flutie sitting in with the band tonight. Still makes his home here in the Boston area in the off seasons. Fans are booing. They didn't like the call before the last commercial against Jermaine Watson that has sent Krauser to the other end for a 1-and-1.
You sure they're not just saying Flutie?
And this is just, I think it's the right call. You'll see Krauser underneath gets the discard, Tavern League discard. And by the way, Digger played in the Plester. There was a game at 6 and 8:30. Digger's Rider team played at 4 before the crowd assembled.
Wow. That's fair in the interest of equal time.
Exactly. Give him a little shot.
Well, Digger was, when we were in Memphis this weekend, did help the Tigers with their shooting before their game against Louisville.
And how about this guy? Doesn't need much help.
I think Smith decided on that play. If they're going to be allowed to bump me, I'm going to try to use my free arm there to create a little space. He used the left arm to open room for the shot. He has scored the last 8 Boston College points, and Boston College back within 6. A steal by Smith has Dudley with him.
Pretty give. Wow. Great basketball. Spectacular. The two bigs.
some textbook fast breaks tonight, reminiscent of the old Celtic teams of Red Auerbach. Taft on a little feed from the wing from Krauser quiets the crowd. That's the first bucket of the night for Taft. Young man with seemingly a lot of talent who just doesn't put it on display all that consistently.
This guy is. This guy is. But, Sean, you can't feed a fast break. BC's not a fast break team, all-out run. But when you pass it like this in a sloppy fashion on the perimeter, you get runouts. But how about that? Send it in. Dudley with the give back.
Well, and how about the anticipation of Craig Smith to jump out into that passing lane and really take it away from a guard, the intended receiver, Carl Krauser.
Smith made the first. Colin McCarroll his first. After a slow start, Smith's up to 13 points.
My homeroom wasn't this quiet. Amazing, huh? They've really caught on with their hoops here, haven't they?
Really have.
Last
It's
month.
a remarkable time here at Boston College athletically. The success of this DC basketball team, the football teams won 5 bowl games in a row. The men's hockey team among the best in the country. The women's basketball team in the top 25. Both soccer programs outstanding. And many other sports here as good as they've been in their history. Great leadership from Gene DiFilippo and his staff. And things are about as good as they've ever been on the Heights athletically. Camp ran down his own miss in the corner. And Dudley is on the board. That's Jared Dudley's first bucket of the night. He averages 16.5 per game. And he's trying to get the crowd whipped into a frenzy with BC within 3.
And Jay's point earlier of jamming it up, well taken, because they've opened it up a little, getting better entry passes.
Well, they're just running that slice cut screen for the screener action, and they got a switch with Krauser on Dornekamp, and they went with it.
Oh, nice play by Smith again, Sean.
He's been very active on defense. BC, not a textbook Auerbackian break that time. And a held ball. Yes, it is, and the ball goes to BC.
Now we've got the importance of the game, I think. Both clubs very alert, attacking one another.
Well, it gets a little scary for BC if they do not win tonight. Their last game is at Rutgers, which has had a very disappointing season, but historically they've been tough at the rack, and there'll be all kinds of pressure on BC to win that game.
Nice inside curl to get Smith to the box.
Smith missed it again. Following the rebounding action on Hiddens. Crowd thought it was going the other way.
Oh, that was a good call.
It was a good call.
Big time rebound by McCarroll. He has played very well. Exceedingly. The Taft effort causes the miss. He just great control. Just part of the game. Unfortunately, the little guy pays for it.
You know, that was a big rebound, because when Taft goes after that shot block, that leaves that offensive board wide open. That's why you've got to really get in there and rebound some the other 4 guys to the glass.
And now McCarroll has had the monumental struggle at the line this season, shooting a 1-and-1. Good for him.
Nothing to it. Great attitude player. Coaches rave about him.
Free throws all year. He's made 2 here tonight.
Well, he likes the bright lights. They have not.
Foul was his second.
I'm sorry, Sean. They haven't gone to him much, and there's something about being a factor that heightens your interest level, and you reach back.
And McCarroll averaged 5.5 points per game last year, only 2 points per game this year with less playing time. Part of that's the development of Kendall and Gray. 5-point lead for Pittsburgh.
Just on the edge of time enough for a 2-for-1 if BC wanted to get something up quickly.
Dornekamp is open.
Well, he's had 2 others. He thought he'd convert them. A terrific deep shooter.
Pitt could take the last shot. They don't seem to realize that Jamie Dixon wanted one shot. Taft instead blocked by Dornekamp. Kendall ripped it away from his fellow Canadian. And the bench still can't get the Pitt players to realize, and now Ramon pulls it back out. The bench wanted one shot from the very beginning of the possession.
Taft, like all big guys, you get it, you might as well go with it.
Kendall, the fake to get around Smith. Taft wouldn't go at the buzzer, and it's halftime. A hard-fought battle here in the Heights. BC, led by Craig Smith's 13, down by only 3 despite shooting 29% for the half. Hoping to win the Big East regular season title here tonight. At the half, 28-25 in favor of Pittsburgh. Let's head back to the studio now for the UPS halftime report. Here's Chris Fowler.
All right, Sean, thank you. Digger, Mike Jarvis alongside. Yeah, the key for Pittsburgh has always been handling the second half. That's been the problem for them in recent games, as Mike mentioned. Let's see if they can hold that lead on the road. We'll talk with these guys in just a second, but first, the John Chaney saga, day 7, and Chaney has disciplined himself again, saying that he will not coach Temple in the Atlantic 10 tournament. No word on whether he might coach in the NIT. The Owls will be eligible for the NIT, but in a statement today, Chaney said that because St. Joe's John Bryant, the player injured as a result of his sending Nehemiah Ingram into the game, as long as he couldn't play, Chaney didn't feel like he should be able to coach in the Atlantic 10 tournament. When we come back, we'll talk about which teams are handling and not handling the pressure games down the stretch in the Big East. Who's on the bubble?
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Beck's Beer, who reminds you that life beckons and you're holding the key. And Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
If you're waiting for the weekend, you A, are thoughtful and well organized, B, have an excellent reason to live past Thursday, C, are missing out on 5/7 of your life. Life beckons, and you're holding the key.
Hey, Bob. Yeah, have you disinfected the area? Good. Now make a 3-inch incision between the 4th and 5th abdominal muscles.
Shouldn't you be doing this?
It's really straightforward. Listen, I gotta go, Bob. I'll talk to you later.
Making important financial decisions on your own doesn't make much sense either. That's why Edward Jones prefers meeting clients face-to-face, so they can get the attention they deserve. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
I want to see my friend. Come on. Kid, how many fingers I got up? 4. What city are we in? I don't know. You remember what you did last night? No. Remember what I did last night? No. He's fine. It's all good. Let him in.
You've got friends, you've got beer. The trick is, A, never confusing the two, B, having plenty of both, C, always having something to drink to. Life beckons, and you're holding the key.
When two great things come together, that's the sweet spot. Introducing the most powerful midsize truck, period. The all-new 265 horsepower Nissan Frontier. Welcome to the sweet spot.
I'll give it back to him. Nice. Oh, you gotta call that.
With up to 40 NBA games a week, news, stats, and highlights.
Nice.
NBA League Pass from DirecTV is heaven. Call 1-800-GET-SPORTS today.
Welcome back to the UPS Halftime Report.
New top 10. Look at Washington debuting at number 10. Mike, that's one of the quietest top 10 teams in years.
Well, they're only 23-4. They have a big game. They go and beat Arizona. And they now have a chance. They win their last 2 games of winning up the Pac-10 championship.
And they lead the conference in almost every offensive and rebounding category there.
Look at numbers 1 through 5. Boy, Digger, Kentucky has been impressive.
That win at Alabama really impressed me. But really who impressed me was Patrick Sparks. Of his 26 points, 20 were in the second half, and he's finally making the threes, 5 for 7. Tubby Smith's got this team really primed for the SEC and the SEC Conference Tournament coming up.
All right, let's talk Big East now. And talk has faded just a bit of the Big East Conference making history by becoming the first league to get 8 teams in. Some are playing their way up the ladder, like West Virginia, more on them in a second, while others like Georgetown with 3 straight losses, just not handling these pressure games at the end of the year that mean a lot. It's a new experience for a lot of those guys, and for John Thompson III, you see the Hoyas are down to 8-6 after 3 straight losses.
Well, those 3 straight losses at Notre Dame, they didn't play well. St. John's, you know, in the Garden, that hurt. But Villanova, they had a chance to make it what happened this week, and they didn't do it. But they're at UConn. That's going to be 4 in a row, and then Providence at home. So they could be fading out.
Meanwhile, West Virginia is a team that is playing its way in.
I just think this team right now is the hottest team. Everybody talks about UConn. We talk about what goes on with the way they've been playing, as well as Syracuse. But West Virginia has got big wins outside their conference. When you look at their wins at NC State, Pitt twice in the conference, and then, of course, when you look at how they come back and win at LSU. That, to me, is why this team right now is sitting right there at 8-7. They got 1 game left. They're at Seton Hall, and based on how they do in that conference tournament, they could sneak in with a couple wins and become an at-large because of their non-conference wins and beating Pitt twice.
You could add NC State to that list of key wins as well. Meanwhile, on the other side of the equation, you know, Pittsburgh is a team that people had comfortably in the tournament. All of a sudden now, you got to call up the Panthers' resume because they've lost 3 in a row, though a good first half here at Boston. Well, Pittsburgh's, they've been an up-and-down team. I mean, they start out the year winning. They're not playing the greatest schedule in the world early. Then they get hot. Now they're getting cold. It seems like maybe the lack of the bench is catching up to them a little bit. However, they've beaten Syracuse. They beat Connecticut. They've won 6 out of their last 10. And they're still going to finish above 500 in the Big East. And that will get them in. Even if they lose these next 2 games, I still think they're in the tournament. It was a non-conference game, Digger, but Notre Dame certainly didn't look like a tournament team over the weekend, losing to UCLA, which the Bruins look very much like a tournament-bound team.
What that did for the Pac-10, Chris, was now put the Pac-10, it was the way UCLA won at Notre Dame. Having them down 20 in the second half, that now gives the Pac-10, in my opinion, 4 teams because Cal is fading out. They're gone. They did nothing. But when you look at what goes on with Stanford and UCLA, they're in there.
My point was the Irish a little bit shaky at this point.
Yeah, they're still in.
Okay. Your chance to vote on ESPN.com, the big man on campus, our weekly feature, and the final one. Who will it be? Will it be Carl Elliott of GW, who hit that running 3-pointer at the buzzer?
Swan shot.
That was the shot of the week. Simeon, a big game, obviously, against Oklahoma State. Trey Simmons, Washington up there as well. In a lobby for your guy? Oh, always, of course. Indiana, by the way, Gracie Wright picked up a big win over Michigan State. In the first half, Panthers lead it by 3. Chevy Troutman has 8. Craig Smith 13 for the Eagles, but they shoot just 29% in the first half.
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
It's my job at UPS to make sure our planes can get around bad weather. Hey, the weather can be unpredictable. The time your package arrives shouldn't be.
UPS delivers more packages on time than anyone. UPS. What can Brown do for you?
If you're waiting for the weekend, you A, are thoughtful and well organized, B, have an excellent reason to live past Thursday, C, are missing out on 5/7 of your life. Life beckons, and you're holding the key.
There it is.
There what is?
The Harley I almost bought.
I love that color. Is that
black?
Black.
It's black.
That almost looks great.
Well, I can almost hear that big V-twin.
Almost won't get you there.
Fresh, made to order. Sonic's got it, others don't. At Sonic, you won't find any microwaves around here, but you will find delicious all-beef burgers served with the freshest ingredients and made after you order them, the way you like them. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
Here's a fun fact. Erected in 1963, the walnut stands 15 feet high.
I'll be in the car.
Go where you want with your free weekend from Avis.
Orca! Orca! Oh, I love Orca.
I thought you loved the humpback.
I recently changed my mind.
But I thought we established that the Orca was mine.
Now rent for a week and get a free weekend to use later. Find our lowest prices at avis.com.
Excuse me, sir. Morning, Laurie. The analysis already. Hey, Rudy. This doesn't make any sense. That didn't ring. You're not talking to anybody. I apologize. I'll correct it myself. It's just that I work with a bunch of monkeys here.
Visit the largest job website, careerbuilder.com. A better job awaits.
You've got friends, you've got beer. The trick is, A, never confusing the two. B, having plenty of both. C, always having something to drink to. Life beckons, and you're holding the key.
The competition, the commitment, the community, the paint. ESPNU is here. This Friday, ESPN launches a new network dedicated to college sports, all college sports. The premiere of ESPNU will be simulcast on ESPN2 at 7 p.m. Friday with a special 2-hour college game day live from Oklahoma State. ESPNU, be there from the beginning.
We'll see you from Stillwater. Welcome back to the UPS Halftime Report. Game 2 tonight. Oklahoma takes a 4-game winning streak to Austin, but the Longhorns have lost just once. Always a good scene, the Red River rivalry. Oklahoma trying to go for the sweep.
Well, I look at Texas when you see how they've been having problems scoring. Now Kenny Taylor has his game going. Had 20 points in the win over this weekend and going 4 for 6 shooting threes. That takes the pressure off Dan Gibson on the perimeter and lets Buckman and Klotz play that much tougher in the paint where they can go for double-doubles, Mike.
Well, I think the key for Texas is going to be the 2-3 zone, the defense that they're committed to, and they've been very active in it. They've been doing a great job covering up the outside shot. The big question is whether or not they can rebound out of it well enough to win.
Now, they led most of the game at Norman, the first meeting. That was the first game they didn't have P.J. Tucker. Still played very well. We'll see what happens in Austin. That is game 2 tonight, and the final big money, followed by New Mexico and UNLV after Sports Center at midnight Eastern Time. Back to Chestnut Hill for the second half. See if the Panthers could hold on to that lead against Dudley and Smith and the Eagles' 3-point game when you come back.
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SUV Championships.
Anybody can ride an SUV. Not everybody rides it right.
Pushing it too hard.
Without respect for what they're capable of, it's easy to see why a lot of riders take the role. SUVs are big and powerful, and on top of one, you can feel almost invincible.
Easy now, big fella.
Keeping your SUV in all fours.
Look at that control.
That's the idea, right?
When two great things come together, that's the sweet spot. Introducing the most powerful midsize truck, period. The all-new 265 horsepower Nissan Frontier. Welcome to the sweet spot.
There's a force out there. It's strong, it's powerful. It stops for nothing and no one. It's a wrecking ball off the chain. It's the thunder and the lightning. The Nike Air Force operate in the House of Hoops, only at Foot Locker.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by SUV.com and Nike Pro Apparel.
Boston College with a chance to add another trophy to the trophy case. With a victory tonight, they would clinch at least a share of the Big East regular season title. But at the half, they're down by 3. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, and Bill Raftery, delighted to have you back with us. The deficit 3, but it was 8 at one point for Boston College, and that seemed to be when Craig Smith said, okay, enough of this. I'm going to get involved in the proceedings.
And by the way, you don't have to adjust your television sets. He really is this color. 13 points for Craig Smith in the first half. He was really the offense, I thought, for Boston College. Just adjusting to the physical challenge that Pittsburgh gives you. That can take you 20 minutes or more.
And, you know, BC is really fun the way they pass the basketball. And I think Pitt has to match that. 11 turnovers is too many for Pitt. BC does a great job getting it to the correct guy, Jay.
And they had 10 field goals in the first half. More to your point, 9 of them were assisted. That shows this team can pass the ball. They share it. They make the extra pass.
And Pitt made some nice plays. I thought McCarroll did a nice job finding people. And there's the tower of strength from Pittsburgh. Chevy Troutman, a nice look away, and then the strong finish. So they need more of this. Get the big guy involved, particularly Troutman and Taft on occasion.
BC shot just 29% in the half. And Pittsburgh had the rebounding edge. Smith, the only player in double figures. He has 13. Siobhan Troutman has 8. Carl Krauser 7 for Pittsburgh. BC, I think if you're Al Skinner, you look at that, you see 29%. You're out rebounded. Jared Dudley only has 2 points, but yet you're within 3. You have to feel pretty good about that.
You know, it's a team that just hangs around. They know how to come back. We've seen that all year long.
Chris Taft with Siobhan Troutman, Mark McCarroll, Carl Krauser, Antonio Graves to begin the second half for Pittsburgh, trying to avoid losing 4 in a row for the first time since 2001.
I think that may be Taft, you think?
I think it was Taft on the second try.
Terrific post pass to him. He's got to finish the first time.
Just 4 points for Taft, who averages 13 per game. And it's a Dudley with Dornekamp, Smith, and Marshall. The same 5 that started the game. Begins the second half for Al Skinner. Hit a deep 3.
So that really loosens it up. They've opened up the middle. And don't forget, guys, Dudley loves the second half. He really lights it up.
Well, Hinton kind of reminds you of Howard Isley a little bit, doesn't he?
Very similar. Quick feet, range, breaks the D down with the bounce.
Well, they got Taft.
Nice lob, and he's got to finish that out. Wow. What a difference, huh?
And a good job of playing the angle as the ball was being reversed. He did a nice job of keeping the defender on his hip.
Hinton feeling it after the make a minute ago. Dudley up to the rim but couldn't tip it in. And it's controlled out of the corner by Krauser. Graves left wide open, and that's a 2. His toes are on the line.
And Dornekamp really did the right thing running to the lane. Unfortunately, nobody covered on the wing for him.
Four points for Graves. Dornekamp, baseline jumper.
Boy, does he make you work because he drips and converts, Jay. Tough to handle.
Well, Taft, most big guys aren't used to guarding that. And we watched Nate Dornekamp drilling jumpers today in their little pre-shoot-around workout.
Carl Krauser, tough shot. Barely grazed the rim. Dudley controlled it. Well, the coaches are telling us today Dornekamp is a better practice player than he is in games. Sometimes he's their very best player in a number of their practices. Smith scores. He has 15. Boston College back within 2. Dornekamp tonight, the senior, playing in his 123rd career game, and they're 86 and 36 in his first 122.
And what he does is, like all these guys, they just withdraw their personality to help the team.
Graves off to a strong start here in the second half. That one is a 3. He has 5 in the second half, 7 for the ball game.
He's just ready to shoot after Krauser came off that stagger.
How about that pass by Dornicamp? The little things that he can do. You got to go up and play him. Nice entry in the block.
How often do you see Craig Smith get a jump hook block?
Surprise taps.
Not often.
They finally got him kind of active in the game, and we're less than 3 minutes into the half. He's going to the bench.
Well, maybe a blow for a minute. You know, sometimes there's a spell that they might need. Maybe Dornicamp, the matchup that we mentioned too. Pittsburgh, they did the same thing. If you remember, at the end of that game, Pittsburgh, West Virginia was making deep shots. They took Taft out.
Pittsburgh scored 20 points in the last 9 minutes in that West Virginia comeback to beat Pitt. No field goals in the last 5 minutes of that game for Pittsburgh. They lost a double-digit lead, really a crushing loss. West Virginia swept them in the 2-game regular season series, and certainly that'll be a strong mark on the resume for the Mountaineers when the committee considers them.
That neighborhood rivalry, huh?
Aaron Gray, nice move. Dornicamp got back to get a piece of the ball, and Gray still powered it up and in.
Had a little drop step up and under.
Right after BC got to within 2, 5 unanswered points for Pittsburgh. They're up by 7, nearly at their largest lead of the night. Dornicamp. It rattled out to Carl Krauser. An underappreciated rebounder at more than 4.5 per game at just 6'2".
And Troutman got out on the shooter there. That was the difference. Taft couldn't, but I think he's just getting the blow, Sean.
Troutman underneath to Gray, and they foul him.
It's such a good interior passing team. Big guys all look for each other. They turn, assess the defense before they make a quick move.
You know, Jay, both teams are so well controlled on the offensive end. They don't make many mistakes. Pounded inside. You can see just a giveaway.
And that was the second time that Craig Smith has been sealed off in this half. The first time it was Taft, and then Gray on this last occasion.
Gray, a 59% free throw shooter, made it after Smith committed his second foul, the first in the half against Boston College. 4 minutes played. Second half. Pittsburgh has matched its largest lead and establishes a new one. They're up by 9. Tied for 5th coming in. And as we mentioned, the top 5 spots in the Big East standings at the end of the regular season get a first-round bye in the Big East tournament, and historically that's been absolutely critical.
Tried to isolate Smith on the right side, didn't get anything out of it.
And he's doing a good job screening off there. Dornicamp tried to get a piece of it.
And contributions from many tonight for Pittsburgh, and they have built a 9-point lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SUV Championships.
Anybody can ride an SUV. Not everybody rides it right.
Pushing it too hard.
Without respect for what they're capable of, it's easy to see why a lot of riders take the role. SUVs are big and powerful, and on top of one, you can feel almost invincible.
Easy now, big fella.
Keeping your SUV in off course.
Look at that control.
That's the idea, right?
New on DVD. Every fire has a story.
Where's your mom and dad?
Every family has a journey.
I don't want you getting hurt anymore, Dad.
Every hero.
One of our guys is missing.
Has a destiny.
Evacuate now! I'm not leaving till you leave.
On March 8th comes the DVD Event of the Year. Ladder 49. Own it on DVD Tuesday, March 8th.
Introducing the new Brita AquaView, the only filter with a window that lets you see what it takes out of your tap water. One AquaView filter lasts up to 4 months, eliminating 95% of lead, sediment, and chlorine taste from your tap water, day after day after day. It takes out what you don't want to take in. See the difference? The new Brita AquaView, just $39.99 for cleaner water every day. Brita, just add water.
A great matchup. Pitcher, Mussina. Hitter, Ramirez. Mussina deals. Check swing by Ramirez, but he'll get another one. Whoa, up and in. Ramirez clearly looking for a pitch.
If you can read it, you can rip it. The Hitter's Eye. Only in MVP Baseball 2005. Rated for everyone. EA Sports. It's in the game.
Friends, ESPNU is here this Friday. ESPNU will simulcast on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern for the special 2-hour college game day live from Oklahoma State. ESPNU, be there from the beginning, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. So you'll be part of history. You'll be there at Oklahoma State.
I'm looking forward to it, too. Being in Stillwater, that's a great building, Gallagher Arena.
I have never been there, but one thing, give Digger a chance, will you?
Well, his tie is so loud, usually, it's hard for me to hear.
I think big period right now for BC defensively, Sean. Out with the matchup here. Nice play, the passing by Marshall.
Right on Coach Raftery's cue. Marshall the steal. He couldn't finish, and Krauser just ripped it away from Jared Dudley. And the Panthers look to run. Graves spots up for 3.
Look at the rebounding.
3 Panthers with great possession, and it wound up in the lap of John DeGroat.
Heck, the Panthers had such good rebounding position underneath. They were knocking each other around, blocking out. Somebody's going to get chucked. It might be your teammate, but they're hitting somebody.
I need it for my record here. Now Skinner not real happy with that defensive balance.
I believe they warned Pittsburgh about touching the ball after they scored. That was the reason for the delay.
And Sean, you notice Troutman up on Dornicamp. That's the reason Taft is not playing. And Dornicamp might get it here or no?
No, DeGroat got in his way.
Foul is on DeGroat. More college basketball tomorrow night on ESPN and ESPN2. Super Tuesday presented by Toyota on ESPN2. A showdown between the division leaders in the A-10, St. Joe's and George Washington. In the Big Ten, it's Indiana and Wisconsin.
St. Joseph still wrapped up in that whole John Chaney incident. You got to think that has been a major distraction for a team that was trying desperately to get into the NCAA tournament. They played so well in the Atlantic 10.
You're not prepared for that as a coach or as a team, and it's like bizarre, the whole situation.
Well, they ought to let it go and let the league handle it.
Yeah.
Just get back to playing.
I think Phil will, though. I mean, they've had a great year, as you noted. Considering who they lost last year, Delonte and Jameer, two of the premier people, great backcourt.
Well, Phil Martelli scheduled this year with the idea that Delonte West was going to be his leading scorer.
Because he was the leading scorer for the Celtics the other night, I think.
Well, he's made a nice impression in his rookie year here in the hub of the universe with the Celtics. Krauser guarded by Marshall. Boston College will have to find a way to get Jared Dudley going. He missed their last shot. He has just 2 points for the ball game. He's been in double figures in 14 in a row. Graves with a shot clock.
Look at this.
Out. And that counts for DeGroat.
Boy, all the things going their way, and anytime it's missing the rim like that, advantage to offense.
Krauser looked like he ran into a brick wall when he came off that.
He stood him up.
11 straight points now for Pittsburgh, and a foul away from the ball. How about John DeGroat? He had 1 point in their last 10 games, didn't even play at all in 2 of the last 3, and he has 6 points tonight.
And they were talking about him early in the year, the guy that they thought could contribute, and Gray with the foul puts Taft back in the game on Smith.
3 fouls on Gray. DeGroat came out of junior college in Colorado. He's a junior now at Pitt, and they thought he would provide them with some offense. He really hasn't, averaging under 2 points per game, but he's been a factor tonight. Jermaine Watson back in for the Eagles.
They can use his toughness right now because they need to match the physical toughness of this Pittsburgh team.
They had a long drought in the first half. Boy, Hinnon and Krauser whooping.
Somebody just threw something on the court.
Inbounded. That's right in front of the students.
Looked like a cigarette.
Or a pen.
That's the no smoking section, though. Look at that help by Gray. Does a lot of little things, helping the post guy.
Taft with hands all over Smith. He just lowers his shoulder. Al Skinner livid, and Joe Lindsay warns him. Al Skinner saw the same thing we saw from here. An awful lot of contact. And then Jamie Dixon looks perplexed because Smith's retaliation was just to go ahead and pull his way to the basket.
And Taft really held his ground. I think the foul was far before the block, but I just love what Krauser does. He makes the post guy go out a couple of steps further, and then he's got to work his way back to the rim. I'm surprised once it hits the floor, more people don't snap at it right down on the post guy.
Well, there is a school of thought with Craig Smith that he's going to get his. That's how good he is inside, and that you've got to spend more time shutting down everybody else. That if you let other guys go crazy on you, that's how you get beat.
Well, maybe Dudley, that's probably the thought there. Dudley's struggling.
Well, to me, this is becoming one of Smith's better performances of the season because he is really being bounced around, and yet he has 16 points. And its dialogue with Krauser seems to have ended, at least for the moment. 2 free throws and the drought by Smith. It was an 11-0 run before the free throws. 13.5 to go. BC trying to clinch a share of the regular season Big East title, in trouble here at home.
And this is where they can gamble in passing lanes in this matchup.
Whoa, Troutman and Dudley collide. No whistle.
Look at
Troutman pulls it away from the pile, gets double teamed. And the ball deflected out of bounds. It'll be a reset, which is a break for Pittsburgh with the shot clock at 10. They'll put it back at 35.
That's the tough-mindedness of Troutman. Just that play typifies his all-out effort. That was anybody's basketball. He made sure Pitt got it back.
Krauser, Graves, Troutman, Taft, and DeGroat for the Panthers. Might end a 3-game losing streak, and obviously a win over the number 5 team in the country on its home court would be huge for their resume. Taft off the feed from DeGroat.
How about DeGroat's pass? Right on the money, baseline, left hand.
But awfully easy. They beat the shift of that matchup zone. You can't allow that right at the rim.
Smith well off. He shot it over Taft. The rebound to DeGroat. The Panthers are taking this crowd out of the game. And a throwaway, and it looked like Taft was being held as the pass went in his direction.
Let's see, good job sealing off here by Taft, and Craig Smith trying to get around in front and gambling in order to do so, which gave Taft the easy lane to the basket.
And of course, in that matchup, when you think of it, you're so conscious of the guy in your area, you don't jam to help out. Nobody at home. They're all looking for Troutman on the other side.
A really good job by Taft of going into the defensive man on ball reversal and just locking him down.
This is the guy they need to come on track, Dudley.
He's been so good lately. Watson fouled and a chance for 3.
Strong and can elevate. Al Skinner was talking about his legs today. They came in handy.
Just a nose for the ball. Look.
With a long arm, Williams kept that alive. And then Ramon called for his first foul. And Watson is their best free throw shooter at 83%.
And he gets to the line a fair amount for
125 attempts for the year.
Yeah, for a 6th man to come in and get there that often.
Averages 10 points per game, up from 6 last year.
Because they rotate those guards nicely. Their share of ankle injuries in the back court. Everybody understands the role.
Ramon shed Dudley and hits a 3. Ronald Ramon, the freshman.
This kid can drill it. Mentioned the shoulder bruise impacting on his shooting. 1 for 7 the last game. Can't leave him open. Got to stay on the deck.
That was in their loss to Connecticut at home on Saturday. The lead up to 14 with under 12 minutes to go. And this is a tough team to come back against, the way the Panthers play defense. Williams lost it on the way up, got it back and scored.
Nice pass by Hinnant, though.
Then again, less than a week ago, West Virginia came from double digits down in the last 5 minutes. Troutman held his pivot foot. Watson right up on Ramon.
Nice pulling of the string, though. See if we can disrupt them, which they did. Didn't get the turnover or the quick shot.
12 to shoot for Pittsburgh.
He can create.
They go into Gray, one-on-one on Smith. Nice move to the bucket, missed a shot. Troutman gets it back, blocked, and a foul called on Sean Williams.
Wow.
How about that?
Boy, Troutman just clearing the space out, but that looked like an awfully good block.
Well, you got to put the helmet on under there, though, Jay.
Rest of his body contact looked pretty clean up top.
That was a good block.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SUV Championships.
Anybody can ride an SUV. Not everybody rides it right.
Pushing it too hard.
Without respect for what they're capable of, it's easy to see why a lot of riders take the role. SUVs are big and powerful, and on top of one, you can feel almost invincible.
Easy now, big fella.
Keeping your SUV in off course.
Look at that control.
That's the idea, right?
When it comes to shipping, talk is cheap. Mistakes aren't.
Brown's got the horsepower. They've got the planes, the technology. Truth is, I don't care how they do it. I just care that my packages get there on time. Hey, all I ask for is perfection. Other than that, I'm pretty easy.
UPS delivers more packages on time than anyone. UPS, what can Brown do for you?
Take the dollar. What's going on, man? It won't take my dollar. Wow, that looks good.
Oh, yeah, it's new from KFC. Real chicken breast. Only $1.
You got that for $1?
Yeah. Took your $1.
Oh.
Ready for a tasty bargain? Try the brand new 99-cent snacker from KFC. 100% hand-floured chicken breast, pepper mayo, and crisp lettuce freshly prepared on a sesame seed bun. Now your dollar goes further at KFC.
Honey, would you be a dear and pick up your brother?
Faster?
Brother, soccer 6.
Good.
What on earth could you and your grandma be talking about for 3 minutes?
Mom, I didn't make the squad.
Is your family's wireless plan costing you a fortune? Take your number to T-Mobile, where families talk free.
Free? Free.
And now get more whenever minutes than ever. 500 for just $49.99.
T-Mobile, get more minutes.
Well, among those in attendance here tonight, John Bierbaum, former outstanding player here at Boston College, and his wife Dania. As a matter of fact, the last time Boston College won the Big East regular season title, John Bierbaum was an important part of that season. And in the Big East championship game, when they completed the double, won the regular season and tournament championship, Troy Bell was the tournament MVP. And there's John Bierbaum. It was a terrific dunker at 6'8". BC beat Pittsburgh. And they've played 3 years in a row in the tournament since then, and Pittsburgh has won all 3 since.
John from Nebraska?
From Nebraska.
How about that? Wasn't he into music, if I'm not mistaken?
He was a good singer. BC's Troy Bell was the MVP. Xavier Singletary and John Bierbaum combined for 27 points in that win over Pittsburgh.
And Chevy today came out and shot free throws. Little tough down the stretch. It's been one of their difficulties trying to close out games, but this guy is some competitor, Jay. The way he banks people, clears out area.
And one of the more unusual free throw routines you're going to see, gets all the way down into a near catcher's crouch before he lets it go.
Well, coaches always tell you, bend your knees, so he's following that.
He paid attention, huh? He said he went over the line.
So a 13-point lead for the Panthers. But you're right, when you've had a couple of games in a row where down the stretch you faded, you wonder if that will work on the minds of Pittsburgh tonight. They had no field goals the last 5 minutes against West Virginia, blew the lead. They had no field goals the last 4 minutes against Connecticut. They had missed a lot of free throws down the stretch and lost that ball game.
And this one team that really can come at you, BC. Look at this, right to the power, right to the strength, and Craig Smith takes it to the 10.
19 for Smith. Ramon with Krauser, McCarroll, Taft, and Troutman for Pittsburgh.
Here's that matchup. Boston College communicates in it very well. They'll even push each other out for their assignments.
And they point, and Dudley's very good at playing a lane, too. Look at this.
It rolls off. And the rebound by Lewis Hinnant. Quickly ahead to Watson. Krauser went for the steal and didn't get it. Watson banks one in.
How about, we mentioned the legs. How about that elevation on that little kiss right over McCarroll at 6'10"?
This is where a tough basketball team gets a score to stop a run. You can't always do it defensively. Sometimes you got to stop a run by scoring.
Got to get to the free throw line at the least.
Taft got it out of a double team to McCarroll. Nice pass by Chris Taft to the cutter, and a big basket to quiet the crowd. 5 points for Mark McCarroll.
You should have been a coach. That was a great dive by McCarroll. Extraordinary to bail his partner out.
9.5 to go. Boston College started the year 20-0. They've lost 2 of their last 5. They're in jeopardy of going 3-3 over a 6-game stretch, unless they can make up this double-digit deficit.
And Pittsburgh staying very patient and very disciplined defensively, not going to double Smith.
Boy, Smith passed up a shot with the shot clock at 6. Hinnant has no choice, and he managed to get rim. That was an awkward-looking possession for Boston College, and back come the Panthers.
Great defense, though.
Krauser along the baseline tried to sneak up a shot. It was blocked out of bounds. 8:54 to go. It's Big Monday, our final Big Monday of this regular season, presented by Bud Light. We hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a fun year here in the Big East. Pittsburgh and BC both still in the top 25. Pitt almost fell out, dropped down to 24th with their recent difficulties. They've been in the top 25 60 weeks in a row now. Krauser way off, but DeGroat the right man at the right time again.
He's 2 for 2 on earned shots. Very alert.
It's almost like a Tom Davis play, you know, just throw it.
Yeah, that jump. Remember he used to do that? It was
a
very
great,
tough to defend.
A lob play that looked like a jump shot. Everybody watching it.
Hinnant missed a 3. Watson will run it down. 8:25 to go. Dudley still with just 2 points. And his shot wouldn't go along the baseline.
Looked like he was expecting contact.
They don't need this.
Understandable the way this game has gone. Troutman, last touch. Well, I think John Clougherty changed his own call, or did he?
No, I think
he didn't. He pointed one way, then the other, but the ball is going to stay with Pittsburgh.
Troutman really held off. It looked like Williams in order to get that offensive rebound.
DeGroat with the quick shot. You're right. That hit the ground, I think, before he touched it.
Well, you can hear very demonstrative reactions from the crowd here on a lot of these whistles. Of course, with BC leaving the Big East at the end of this year, there are many BC fans, regardless of what happens in the game, who believe they just will not get a fair shake from the officials. We don't happen to agree with that theory, especially when you're 23-2. But you hear the roar again as there's a lot of contact under there, and Taft puts it back up and in. A 15-point lead, the largest for the Panthers.
Chevy Troutman is contagious. That was a Chevy-type move by Taft. That's what they've been looking for all year long. This guy's got the goods. He's just got to bring it all the time.
Timeout with 7:40 to go. Pittsburgh kind of snapped a 3-game losing streak with an impressive win.
Optimistic.
Focused.
Hopeful.
Confident. What if someone could help you feel this way about your retirement? In control.
Smart.
Supported.
Able to sleep.
On target. Someone with more certified financial planners than anyone else. Someone who can help you reach your retirement goals. Wouldn't you listen? The personal financial advisors of American Express.
The window appears. An opportunity for greatness. For glory. For triumph. The window appears, and it's gone. It's the last chance to get to the dance. 26 conference championship games in 1 week. Championship Week, presented by 7-Up, begins Saturday at noon on ESPN2 and continues through March 13th.
Can inspiration change your mood? Can personal luxury, bold styling, and heavy power cost less than you'd expect and still turn heads? Easily. Introducing the 2005 Motor Trend Car of the Year, Chrysler 300, starting at $23,995. Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard.
Who decides what the next big thing in TV is? Who judges which innovations bring TV to the next level? The answer is easy. You do. DirecTV never stops looking for ways to bring you the best TV possible. Maybe that's why we've been ranked #1 in customer satisfaction 3 years running. Putting our customers first. Just another example of how DirecTV is rethinking the way television should be.
Update now, Southern Illinois popping into the top 25 and headed for the field of 65, taking on Indiana State. 1-point game in the final 3.5 minutes as the Salukis strive for their first ever 25-win season. They'll head to the Missouri Valley Tournament after that. We head to Austin, Texas for Game 2 as Taj Gray, who's got 10 double-doubles, second best in the league, and the Sooners take on the Longhorns. That's next, guys.
We will look forward to that. Thank you, Chris. And faces on the BC bench tell the tale. Pittsburgh with a 15-point lead. In this half, the Panthers have rebounded Boston College 17-6. The points in the paint in this half are 18 for Pittsburgh and 6 for BC.
And BC unable to turn Pitt over. Here's a little nickel dimer by Troutman deep on the floor. Pitt had 11 in the first half, only 2 in this half.
Third foul on Troutman, and now immediate timeout with 7:35 to go.
Hey, watch this.
Buddy, you want some of this? You like banana?
Yeah. Here, take it seriously. Go. Give me that.
Fresh, smooth, real, Bud Light.
Give me that. Come on,
It's all here.
Here's a fun fact. Erected in 1963, the walnut stands 15 feet high.
I'll be in the car.
Go where you want with your free weekend from Avis.
Orca! Orca! Oh, I love Orca.
I thought you loved the humpback.
I recently changed my mind.
But I thought we established that the Orca was mine. Now rent for a week and get a free weekend to use later. Find our lowest prices at avis.com.
Excuse me, sir. It's very creative. But sir, I just think it's a bad idea to name a product the Titanic.
Visit the largest job website, careerbuilder.com. A better job awaits.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here. And in part by Avis. We try harder.
Back at Boston College, where the fans are trying to stay up despite the 15-point deficit for the home team. One of the reasons why Pittsburgh has built this impressive lead. John DeGroat, really a non-factor for several weeks now. A major factor tonight, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists.
Well, he has been aggressive. He's been on the offensive glass. He has taken open shots, and he's been at the right place at the right time, getting the errant shot by Paul Krauser and kissing it off the glass. You know, before this game, if you had said DeGroat, they would have said, oh, yeah, Dick Groat. He does the radio for us. He was MVP of the National League in 1960. Nobody would have thought of John DeGroat.
We're going to chuckle like we didn't hear that one during the commercial break.
Great.
It was so good, we laughed twice.
Nice step in here.
Saw the Rock Green Light shooting stats. They also tell a big part of the tale. Steve Haley back in, trying to give Boston College a spark. Watson a 3. They need it. They get it.
And while you're looking for a quick hitter, Pittsburgh never tagged properly. Now that's real bad defense for them.
7 minutes to go.
Straight up man right now.
A loss by Boston College tonight guarantees Connecticut A chance for at least a share of the Big East title. They have 2 games left. They would be tied in the loss column with 3 losses apiece if BC goes down here. Big Monday tonight, Super Tuesday tomorrow, presented by Toyota on ESPN2, St. Joe's and George Washington. Then it's Indiana and Wisconsin on ESPN.
How big is
couldn't get the ball and they call a timeout?
How big is that game for Indiana when you think of it? White played well. Gracie Wright played well. By the way,
timeout for Pittsburgh.
Connecticut
nice win yesterday.
Has to be commended, don't you think?
Yeah, they played great. That's one of the reasons when we picked our all-conference team, we had Marcus Williams on there. I don't think there's any doubt that he's played as well, if not better, than any point guard in the league the last month and a half or so. We showed you earlier our picks for the all-conference team. A lot of times in the Big East, they'll pick 7 or 8 first-teamers because it's so hard to differentiate. But we all agreed as well on the coach and player of the year. We thought Craig Smith of BC should be the player of the year and Al Skinner the coach. Team that was picked to finish 5th has had one of the best seasons in the history of the school, and Rudy Gay of Connecticut, the rookie of the year. I believe 5 times now he's been the conference rookie of the week this year.
Although you can make a great case also for Jeff Green of Georgetown.
Yes.
It's always difficult to make these calls, but hard to argue with those selections.
Especially since we made them.
Especially when they come from brilliant observers of the game.
Gray's done a nice job getting rid of the ball if he doesn't have anything.
Gray had to get out of the lane and did. Graves a tough shot. There's DeGroat again with another big bucket for Pittsburgh.
3 that don't touch the rim, seizing the opportunity from Monticello, New York.
I think I can say this without reservation. John DeGroat is the finest airball rebounder I've seen all year.
I should say Newburgh, New York, Monticello High School.
Well, he had 1 point in 10 games coming in. He's had 10 points in this one game tonight.
He's the new Lorenzo Charles, right?
Shot clock at 10. Haley has to shoot. It falls right in the lap of Smith, and he's fouled on the putback.
How do you teach this, by the way?
Well, the offense certainly has an advantage because they have the luxury of being able to follow the flight of the ball. The defense oftentimes is turning to look to block out.
Seizing the opportunity both in the errant toss and the minutes being given by Jamie Dixon.
Pretty good basketball family. His sister, DeGroat's sister, Katina Mack, was a great player at Penn State in the early and mid 90s. She scored more than 1,400 career points. Ooh, Smith fired an air ball.
Surprised DeGroat didn't get that one.
It wouldn't have counted, right?
71% free throw shooter. Didn't hit anything. 5 out of 7 from the line tonight. Wow, that one was way off too.
Well, that guy has had some year, though. Second to Josh Boone in rebounding. Just his stats, his presence, his stature. Oh, Taft's got to be careful. Dornicamp doing a nice job on post denial.
Under 5.5 to go. Taft working on Dornicamp, and Chris Taft, who's been a force here in the second half. After just 2 points in the first half, he has 12 tonight.
Boy, he showed some stick-to-itiveness there as well. He wouldn't let Dornicamp bump him off.
This is certainly not what Dornicamp and Watson envisioned for their last home game as seniors here at Boston College. 5 minutes to go.
Ooh, Dudley with DeGroat whacking him. That is
a foul.
Smith scores. 21 for Smith. Dudley still has just 2 points.
That's one of those, you've got to call that. I mean, it's a nice dive to the rim. You're wide open. And the banging, it just inhibits your offense.
Well, this is the point in the game, the last 2 games, when Pittsburgh's offense has gone completely stagnant. Hand check called on Jermaine Watson. That is his 3rd.
When Jared Dudley makes his cut here, you can see it just off the screen. He gets bumped way off of his path. And when he does, I mean, there's no way he can be a receiver of any kind of pass getting bumped like that and ridden off of his path.
And of course, when you double the post, I mean, that dive is available. You take it away, it really slows down the opportunity.
That's exactly that basket cut is the natural counter to the double team.
Don't you think with Pittsburgh, perhaps more than any other team, the way the game is called has a lot to do with how
they do?
How they do?
Yeah,
Yes.
I would agree.
And I think it can hurt them in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, look at this foul down. It's going to be Troutman going to the line. Smith upset. And this is what does happen now. When a call like that goes in the other fella's favor, you remember the hits you've been delivered.
Craig Smith, you say, wait a minute, they've been pushing and shoving me all night long.
Exactly.
Third foul on Smith. The 5th team foul against Boston College. Down by 14 with 4.5 to go. And obviously there are a lot of interested observers in the state of Connecticut tonight. Their hopes for a Big East championship looking better and better. I remember last Monday we heard Jim Calhoun tell his team, hey, let's win. Timeout called by Pittsburgh. Let's win our last 4 and hope that BC loses 2. And it's looking like he might have been prophetic. Of course, Connecticut still has work to do, but a loss tonight for BC would make them even in the loss column. BC would have 1 game to go at Rutgers on Saturday. Connecticut has 2 games left. Georgetown is at Connecticut on Wednesday night. Syracuse at Connecticut on Saturday afternoon. There'll be a lot of pressure on BC at Rutgers, a team that's had a terrible year, but when you're in a must-win situation or you see the whole thing perhaps slip away, that's enormous pressure.
It is. And when you mentioned Jim Calhoun and what he said to his team about the regular season title, didn't it point up how important it is to these coaches and players to win that regular season title? People think, wow, it's all the NCAA tournament. No. People in a league want to win that league, and they want to win every trophy that they give out, including UConn, including Boston College.
You know, I learned that doing Big Ten games. I didn't learn it coaching, obviously. Bob Knight explained that. Gene Cady explained it. They fought tooth and nails to win the game. This game has such big implications for both teams. I mean, BC, you're thinking maybe a 4th seed in the NCAA if they can do well, right? And they're really not on top of their game. You got to hand it to Pitt. Impose their will.
Steal by Watson. BC and UConn are the only teams that have a chance to be the #1 seed in the Big East tournament. Haley a quick 3. Dudley a rebound. Krauser grabs him.
And a sarcastic cheer. Krauser does compete, though. The bigger Dudley fought him. No question about the foul at the end of that.
Of course, a lot of these BC fans here are still smarting. They had the Big East football team won outright. They were looking at a BCS berth, and then they were upset by Syracuse in the last game right here at Alumni Stadium right next door. That threw them into a 4-way tie for the Big East football championship instead of the outright football championship on their way to the ACC. They're hoping that history doesn't repeat itself with the basketball team.
Wasn't it stunning when you saw that graphic? Jared Dudley, before he made that free throw, only 2 points in this game. A guy who's averaging just under 19 points in Big East play. He's been so steady.
And good defense. They've mixed up who's played him. And right now, making the free throw is important because you can set this pressure up. They front.
DeGroat into Troutman. DeGroat again.
Better hustle.
You know, it's funny. I may have given a foul out early.
Graves stopped in the backcourt. Crowd thought he walked, and he just barely beat the 10 count. He jammed on the brakes in the backcourt when he had a second or two to spare.
You know, God bless Jimmy Valvano. I would have given DeGroat the foul. Just see if he could make them. Stop the clock.
Graves for 3.
Instead, they use almost, 25 seconds and still get the deuce or tray.
And how about the learning curve from Taft? He threw it away the last time, turned, made a good pass to Graves.
Well, Haley just killing time with a dribble here. They need to have a sense of urgency, down by 15 with under 3.5 to go.
Now, you can't be methodical. They're going to settle for these. They're going to have some problems. It'll be one and done.
And here comes Krauser.
And they don't need this.
But Graves is feeling it, and why not? Antonio Graves, and that might be the dagger. 3 minutes to go. Pittsburgh up by 18, and give them tremendous credit. Losers of 3 in a row for the first time since 2001. Sliding down to a 64 RPI that has some people thinking they could have been on the bubble. And I think it's typical of their program in recent years, guys. Great mental toughness, They stick to it no matter what is going on in their program, and this is a very impressive performance tonight.
And how about Krauser finding the open grave, spotting up for a three? And I agree with you, Sean. I think that was the dagger. It was perhaps the death knell for this one game. And I really didn't think that Pittsburgh was on the bubble, but boy, you come into this building and win against an outstanding Boston College team, and
well, if they kept
your resume is complete.
They would have been on the bubble. I mean, if this continued for 2 or 3 more, now you're talking about 5 or 6 losses in a row.
I mean, I guess if they had lost the next 2 and then wound up losing in the first, their first game of the Big East tournament, you could say that. But boy, you still come back to the same principle that they have to take 65 teams, and there are some teams out there that are still sort of on the bubble that don't have a lot of quality wins to rely upon.
Pittsburgh plays this kind of defense. They're going to take a lot of people out. This is what they're accustomed to doing, frustrating you, forcing tough shots. And you mentioned that shot by Graves, almost an unnecessary dagger. And they don't need this, but right now it's a little woo-woo.
Yeah, well, it's showtime now. The crowd is filing out, very disappointed. They came in here tonight hoping to see the crowning of a Big East regular season champion. It will not happen. And Krauser rebound. He's fouled by Smith. That's the 4th on Smith.
And Krauser took some hit there.
And the media timeout. We'll return to Boston College right after this.
Bye. Bye. See you tonight.
Love you.
Love you too.
Okay, that's my foot.
I'd say from Agent LaDonna Young Hansen, this is a true story.
We didn't know what kind of claim it was, because was it going to be an auto claim or a homeowner's claim?
Since we take care of all their insurance needs, it was easy to figure out.
And she handled all the paperwork.
In minutes.
She made the process totally painless.
Well, not totally. I mean,
okay.
Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. Trust us with all your insurance needs, and we'll save you some money, too. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor.
State Farm is there.
There are millions surfing the web with net zero for less than $10 a month. Are you one of them? If not, then it's time to switch to the internet service that ranks higher than AOL in customer satisfaction. Join the millions. Switch to net zero. Go to netzero.com.
Stronger denim. More comfortable, relaxed fit. Wrangler 5-star premium quality denim. Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Fresh, made to order. Sonic's got it, others don't. At Sonic, you won't find any microwaves around here, but you will find delicious all-beef burgers served with the freshest ingredients and made after you order them the way you like them. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
The Wendy's Wildcard Dream Job Sweepstakes. More Biggie Cups means more chances to win. Just find the code on your cup, then log on to ESPN.com/dreamjob. You could win a trip to the ESPN headquarters in Bristol.
Up next, we'll go from Boston to Austin, where a Longhorn freshman looks to shine on senior night. The Red River rivalry. Sooners and Horns are coming up next, gang.
All right, Chris. Always emotional, no matter the sport, when Oklahoma and Texas get together. Well, there's the trophy case, which will not have an edition tonight. BC hoping to win the regular season Big East championship. It's not going to happen here in large part because of the rebounding. 45-25 in favor of Pittsburgh. That's led to a 17-9 edge in second chance points. A team that has struggled lately down the stretch has excelled tonight.
And Pitt has really valued the ball much better in the second half. Here and there, an errant toss, but basic. And when you've got a guy like Dudley, he has been so solid all year long, Jared. This is unquestionably a disappointment for him. The little home run luck to Troutman, he doesn't need it.
Williams got back to defend it. And Troutman, I mean, that's typical Troutman and typical Pittsburgh. Hanging with the play. And the end result is the largest lead of the night for Pitt. And an 11-point night for Troutman. Of course, this also will keep Syracuse alive for at least a chance to share the regular season title as well. They have 4 losses. After tonight, Connecticut and Boston College will each have 3. And Syracuse has just 1 game left, and that is at Connecticut on Saturday. They would need, obviously, BC to lose at Rutgers and have Connecticut lose 1 of its last 2, and Syracuse to make that happen itself. It's a long shot, but they're still alive for a share of the regular season title.
And they're a very good team. I think it'll be very tough in the NCAA tournament. They get the little push here on Krauser. But all the Chevy check and everything out here.
Just gave us the thumbs up as we walked by.
Did you play anybody that physical? Can you recall?
As Chevy Troutman? I would say Lorenzo Charles would be one at NC State back in the 80s. He was really physical. I mean, Ben Coleman at Maryland.
Yeah. Who's, I think it's his nephew Dan was here and opened up Dudley's scholarship by going to Minnesota. If I'm not mistaken.
When you played George Mikan, was he physical, Bill?
George, yeah, you know, was tough. They had the narrow lane then. I just couldn't keep him off the box.
So Pittsburgh with the win. We'll go to 19-7 overall, 9-6 in the conference. Of course, they want to finish in the top 5 to get that first round bye in the Big East tournament. With St. John's not participating in the Big East championship this year, 5 teams will get a first round bye instead of 4.
Jamie Dixon, Nugget Smith trying to go there. He got their attention. Whatever he did on the off day, this team came in relaxed. I was impressed with the enthusiasm during the shoot around today.
Well, I was interested in listening to Jamie talk. He's saying to both of us today that he didn't think they were playing very poorly. He thought they had played well. They just hadn't gotten any breaks. They were missing free throws, missing some layups at key times. But it wasn't like he could point to something where there wasn't enough effort or they weren't running their offense right. He had actually been pretty pleased with the way they played.
It doesn't take much, Sean, to lose in this league or win. I mean, the margin of error is very slim.
Well, that's the sign of a good league, is when you can play well and still lose because of the quality of your opponent.
BC also tonight obviously really hurting its chances to be a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They surprised Craig Smith still in the game. Your next game is going to be perhaps a must-win situation here.
I really haven't given it much thought, to be honest with you.
Would you take him out? He might beat the hell out of you.
Yeah, that's right.
But if he turns an ankle with 1.5 minutes to go, that might cost you the Big East championship.
Because you act like you're related.
A runner at the buzzer of the shot clock for Carl Krauser. It's been that kind of a night. Just about everything going right for Pittsburgh. A hard-earned victory here in Chestnut Hill tonight. Troutman rebounds to Haley miss.
A toughness emblematic of that great city when you think of it.
Well, Troutman has a will, the likes of which you don't see very often.
You can't put it in anybody. No infusion. It just comes naturally.
Ramon, some good ball handling to keep it away from Watson. Well, guys, I think this Big East tournament is about as wide open. I mean, if you had to pick a favorite going in, who would you pick?
I'd say Connecticut.
Yeah, I think they're playing the best basketball in the conference right now.
And they're getting better as the season ends. And how many teams can say that? How many teams can say they're improving as they enter the tournament?
We'll have that coverage from Madison Square Garden next week. We always look forward to being in the world's most famous arena. Balanced scoring tonight. 5 Pittsburgh players with double digits. Graves with 13. Taft with 12. Or Taft with 12. Troutman 11. DeGroat 10. Krauser 10. And the 3-game losing streak is over for Pittsburgh. Chris Taft keying that second half run, chosen by our blue ribbon panel as the Avis player of the game. 12 points and 8 rebounds.
Geez, what does John DeGroat have to do?
I don't know.
Just retrieve those errant tosses.
Send your cards and letters to Scott Matthews, producer here of ESPN. We thank Scott and our entire crew and for their fine work here tonight. First home loss here at the Heights for BC since last February. Pittsburgh a winner 72-50. Let's send you back to the studio. Here's Chris Fowler.
All right, Sean, Raff, Jay up next. Kevin Bookout and the Sooners taking that 4-game winning streak into Austin, which has been a house of horrors for Oklahoma. At least last year, an embarrassing loss by the Sooners. They'll try to do much better. That game coming up just a few minutes at the top of the hour. In the meantime, I think Pittsburgh was well aware of their second-half problems and their losses this year. That was a terrific second-half performance. They just stepped on BC. The Eagles score 50 points. That's 19 under their average. That's 10 points fewer than their previous low this season. Just an awful offensive game, but you have to credit Pitt's defense.
Pitt's defense was established in the first half, and you got to credit Jamie Dixon because he's a guy that just took this team and said, you know, we've got to win this game. I don't care where we go, who we play, or what. We have to win this game. A must win. They got it done. And what they did defensively was to take Dudley out of that game in the first half. He only had 2 points. Smith was not on fire. Boston College was not on fire. And, Mike, when you take that out of what they did to their offense, that gave them the opportunity to win this game.
Well, they did a great job really compacting the defense, daring BC to shoot, and BC didn't shoot, and they just out-hustled them, got every rebound, every loose ball, and give DeGroat a tremendous amount of credit.
Well, Senior night is spoiled in Boston. We go back there where Jay Billis has the victorious Panther contingent. The three-game losing streak is over. Jay?
Thanks, guys. Jamie, was this a game where your defense wound up winning it for you?
Yeah, I think we really did a great job defensively. The guys, it was interesting. The guys really were ready to go as far as defending them. They really knew what we had to do as far as guarding them, and they did a great job of physically trying to take them out of their stuff, what they were trying to do, guarding their flex, and then we made some shots. You know, I think we just got some confidence from guys making shots. Antonio, John gave us great minutes off the bench, and Chris was great. Our big guys were good inside, and we really just did. It was all guys doing a great job. Carl did a great job running the team, and everybody just gave us good things, made some shots, and we just got some confidence going.
You know, having lost 3 games in a row in the league as tough as the Big East, you had told us this morning that you felt like your team had played pretty well. How did you handle this 3-game skid with your team?
Well, I mean, we just came in and told them after the game the other night, I said, hey, we believe in you, and I don't know who else does, but we do, right? The guys in this room here right now, I said it before the game as well, and I think they knew. I mean, I think they knew. We did some things. We played all right the other day. We didn't play good enough. We made some mistakes, but our guys learned from it, and it was just great out of the confidence, and we just got a little bit more from a couple other guys, and just everything just came together tonight. And they're a great team, obviously, and it's just a great win for us in a great environment.
And a brilliant coaching move. You putting John DeGroat in that earlier.
Should have had him in there earlier. He was, I mean, he's getting better every day in practice. He's got a great attitude, and he's a good kid, and it's just great to see him. He deserves it.
Well, Jamie, congratulations. Let's get Chris Taft in here. You know, Chris, you're just a sophomore now, and people seem to have such high expectations of you. Do you feel that your maturity has come along at the right rate?
Yeah, I feel my maturity has come along. It's getting better and better. My coaches, my people, my teammates is always telling me that they need big games. They needed me to step up tonight, and that was my mindset mentally after the UConn game when I felt that I played horrible. I just told myself that I had to come here tonight and play a real good game.
How physical was that game out there tonight?
Oh, that game was real physical. Smith and Smith, Williams, all them big guys being real physical. But we're a physical team. We just matched it.
Well, congratulations on a great win.
Thank you.
Chris, back to you.
All right, Jay, thank you. Yeah, when a guy like DeGroat scores 1.7 per game, gets off at a big national TV game, that's a night for him to remember.
The key, though, was Chris Taft. He needed the breakout game because he's been in a slump in that front line, and all the pressure has been on Troutman in the paint. Now that Taft is back, that's another bonus for this team, and I think Krauser, if he does a better job of shooting his threes, they're going to be a hot team.
Look out, Irish. Pittsburgh's going to Notre Dame next, and the Irish may need a win. Reminder that Oklahoma and Texas coming up next on Big Monday, 9:10 Eastern Time is the start of that game. We'll get you down there, of course, in a few minutes here. Meanwhile, reviewing the day's John Chaney news, day 7.